Honorable Robert Desmond, thanks and continue doing what you do for the city of Painesville. So I told you we will talk to a Liberian based in the United States of America. He's here with us on this edition of the program, and together we're going to look at several issues. He's going to give it his personal perspective, his probably journalistic perspective, and all of that. So, you don't go away. Promise you that this will be an interesting edition of the program. Welcome to the Bumper Show, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so for the benefit of our audience, even though I said, Blah Cannibal, and I know, there's other description you might probably want to give of yourself and tell us a little more about yourself before we go into the actual discussion.
Ja, thank you very much. My name is Blah Cannibal. I live in Pennsylvania in the United States, naturalized United States citizen. I got 4 children, of which 3 are girls. And so my son served in the United States military as a sergeant.
Okay.
And he was just in Egypt. He spent 1 year in Egypt and he's back in the U.S. But when I lived in the United States, I grew up in Bon Mines.
Okay.
And from Bon Mines, I came to Monrovia. I live on 12th Street.
Okay.
The Honorable Director General Eugene Facon and I live on 12th Street together. And also Hassan Kewu and I went to Haywood together.
Okay.
Who is one of your finest product you have here.
Of course.
The Director General for radio, I believe. Or
media services.
Yeah, for media services. Thank you.
Yeah.
For that correction. And Hassan and I we've been friends for over 40 some more years.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a very decent guy. When we're doing amateur broadcasting in this country, Hassan and I always move together with another friend of ours, Mr. G. Dara Desin Zanquia. He's in the United States now. But my area is mainly in sports commentary, basically.
Okay, you are into sports commentary. So it's what you do there in the United States, right?
No, I'm an engineer.
Okay, engineer by profession.
Yes, I drive any one of the yellow machines. I drive caliper. I drive even the smallest yellow machine.
Okay. And I'm sure you will have some things to say about our yellow machine. So probably we chip a little bit into that.
Right.
But you are here in Liberia. When you came back?
I came. My lady and myself, my wife and I, we are here in Liberia. Nettie and I came on the 11th of June.
Okay.
And we've been here. We are here for 3 weeks. I leave tomorrow morning.
Okay. All right. Okay, so it's good to have you here at least. You've been here for 3 weeks now. You've looked around. You've had a feel of what the country is. So I'm sure based on your 3 weeks, you can give us 3 weeks of your assessment of the country. But I want to start with the economy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get your own perspective. You've been here 3 weeks is enough to get a fair assessment of how is it, on the surface at least. So what's your own assessment since you've been here, taking into consideration the economy that you have met in the country?
Actually, I was here 2011 in the heat of the COVID.
Okay.
And when I look at Liberia, I actually shed tears for Liberia when I was here in 2021. Because there were a lot of things that were going on economically that I was dissatisfied with. When you look at the Liberian economy, the only way the economy is going to grow is when I'm not an economist, so
yeah,
but I did do economics in school, so I understand a little bit about the economic system. When you look at, there is something in economics called trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics never worked for no country. Where the breadcrumb would drop from the rich man mouth, then the poor man pick it up to eat. doesn't work. And like I said, I was here 2011, and my kudos go out to the new president you have here in Liberia, Mr. Joe Buckeye. I'm not a partisan.
Of course.
I'm not a Liberian citizen. I'm a United States citizen. I grew up in the States. I was very young. I went to the United States before I turned 18.
Liberian American.
Yes.
Okay.
So people listening to this program cannot say, well, the man came to appeal to Joe Buckeye for a job. I don't need a job here. I'm doing very well.
Of course.
In the United States. My kids are all grown up and they have their own degrees and things. But let's go back to economic quickly. The economy, like when you building an economy where women and children are suffering, they can't even get a cup of rice to eat, it's a problem. Liberia is not a poor nation. But when the country become economically corrupt, then there is a problem.
Of course.
You see. And I'm not scared to say this because as a Liberian, I still own land here. I'm building property here, and I'm not going to run away from my country. I will always come here as a Liberian born here. But for you to have women and children suffering in this country where there is no food for them to get on a daily basis, I think something need to be done. Something need to be done.
Yeah.
Economically. Let's go back to trickle down economic quickly. What trickle down economic mean is that, like I said, when the breadcrumb drop from the rich man's mouth, the poor man pick it up to eat. Fiscal responsibility is what Liberian people need to engage into, more especially as it relates to the leadership. The leadership that are left here, that's not the leadership I've met. So I'm a little bit happy on that.
Fiscal responsibility.
Yes, fiscal responsibility.
Meaning,
one of the let me because politics, like Bishop Tutu said, the Anglican Bishop Tutu. I generally ask him, say, Bishop Tutu, you are Anglican Archbishop, why are you so political? And Bishop Tutu said, and I quote, when he was living, he said, remove politics and tell me what kind of God you pray. Which means politics and religion are intertwined. If you call yourself a religious person and you live in this country that God has given all of us, and you cannot help your fellow Liberian to get a cup of rice to eat, it's a problem. Because we are fingers of one hand and we are our brother's keeper. I was very saddened when I came here. There was no way where I stay. I brought $9,000 to this country. I spent everything, the $5, the balance $5, I give it to somebody at the airport. There is no justifiable reason for which our country would be like that. So then it go back to those people who was in government, the representatives and the senators that run this country. One of the things that people look at and they say, well, economically, I'm putting, so what?
Don't care about what happens to the others, right?
Right.
And when you spoke about, religiously, probably there is no help coming from that side, but some of the religious people will say, oh no, our churches help the poor and do this and do that. Likewise, those who are in power, they think they are doing their best, but probably they are not seeing the area where they need to improve.
Brother Davis, I'm not here to talk about religious people. I didn't come here for me to talk about what religious people do in their time or what they help the community. That's their business. But you and I are discussing economics. And there is this country, Liberia, before I left here, Mother Dukley and other people used to say, this is a Christian nation. If this is a Christian nation, then of course, my leaving from here and going to the United States doesn't negate anything, doesn't change anything, So that means the Republic of Liberia is still a Christian nation. And if we are a Christian nation, You have to look yourself in the mirror in the morning and look at your neighbors and say good morning to that neighbor. Because when I live here, that's what my parents did. Even though I never grew up with them because I was so high-headed, I went on the street of Monrovia. I grew up on the streets here. But when I came here 2011, there was no way that people could even get food to eat. It was difficult for people to actually get, children more especially, to get food to eat. And it hurt me so much. Yes.
Since 2011, comparing now, because I'm sure you're still not satisfied with the status quo that you met on the ground. Yes, you have some commendation for the president. He hasn't been there too long.
Right.
So, assessing his, progress or success is still narrow. People still finding a way to assess how far he has gone. People, oh yes, the president is doing well. People have their own different assessment, and you also have commendation for him. But I'm sure there's so much areas that you want focus
Right.
that will change, like the issue you were talking about, to even have people get food on their tables.
Right.
Yeah. So what are those areas? What's running through your mind? What needs to change? What needs to improve that, Liberians can be better off in their own country?
Right. One of the things here is this. Let's look at government for example. You got three branches of the Liberian government:
Of course.
the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative body of this country. You know who killed in Liberia? The legislature.
You sure of that? The legislators think they are not the ones.
No, they are. They are the.
Why you think so?
Because in a country like Liberia where there is no GDP, Liberia have these things, gross national product. That's what GDP means. These gross national product exists because I grew up in Ball Mines. When I lived in Ball Mines, they had the Ball Mining Company in Ball Mines. I was born in Grand Bassa County, and when you look at Grand Bassa County, they had Lamco and many other companies around Liberia. Those GDP, which is the iron ore and things that were coming out of there, that were being shipped to market for sale, the grade of those iron ore have not depreciated. We're still using the same grade of iron ore. The next thing is iron ore prices and steel prices have gone up. But the question I ask people is why Metal Steel and other companies in this country paying people $150 a whole month? Why Metal Steel and other companies in this country paying Silver 7 in this country $150? That is,
You think it should be more than that?
yes.
From
Yes.
your assessment, how much a company should be paying? Because
I'm not trying to compare Liberia with America.
no, I'm not comparing, but just to from your own analysis, because you are an industrial worker, right?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so probably you might have something on mind that you think Liberians should be making.
Yes. A Liberian civil servant will be making $500 United States dollars every month. That way at least alleviate some of the problem. Let me just give you a case in point. Rich people don't spend money. Poor people spend money. If a man is poor like I am, God forbid, and I'm making $500 a month, and that $500, I get that pay and I get home. That $500 is spent. I will go to the market. I will send my children to school, pay their tuition and this and that and the rest of it. But a man who is rich will take that money and bank it because he already got money to alleviate the pressure from his paycheck. Now, more people in this country feel that the representatives and senators, the money they make over there for them. I'm sitting here. I just came from the United States. I'm visiting Liberia, right? And then somebody just called me and said, well, blood, come here. I got thousands of dollars for you. No, that's not the case. These representatives stand in an election by you winning an election in a district doesn't negate the fact that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. That's wrong. You're supposed to do something. You're supposed to work. You're supposed to work, and the work you're supposed to do to improve the livelihood or the lives of those people in that particular district. Then that comes to the senators. The senators are supposed to improve the condition of the county. I was in Bassa, Grand Bassa County. I just came back from Grand Bassa County. But if you look at the condition of the people that are working for the government, these people are so poor.
Let me take you back to the issue of the senators and the representatives, whom you have blamed,
Right.
of being the problem of the
course.
country. During election, and this is something, we've been noticing over the years,
Right.
during election, you will have these people come to you and say,
Right.
I will, provide you education, I will build you roads, and I will do these things. And people think that this is not their function, but they say these things to people, and when they are elected, then they stay away and only think that they know now that they're only supposed to be responsible for their function, their law-making function, their oversight function, and this is when you hear that coming up. But probably people are confused and don't know what they should be expecting from these people. That is why we always, brand them the way we brand them.
Right. One of the things that Liberian people need to do is not to just elect people into office. What they need to do is to try to vet. Even if the president is appointing somebody, you must vet. Liberian government have not been able to vet people. They hear, oh, John Brown he went to Harvard University, and this is his degree. So they look at the degree and put them into office. That's a wrong pattern. That's a wrong thing to do in any country. Even if I'm looking for a job in this country, you want to look at my curriculum vitae. If I came to you and say, well, I graduated from Harvard University, will you just believe me and put me in office? You got to vet somebody. Nope, nobody does a vetting process in this country to say, look, if you say you graduated from the University of XYZ, from the United States or whatever degree you got, bring it so that we can look at it. You see, and when you're looking at those degrees, you have to look at the responsibility that comes with a degree. There are responsibility in public offices. There are people in this country that hold public offices, and they get up and they violate Liberian government law. It's a violation of the law. In the first place, before I started working in the private sector, I worked for the United States government. More people, I don't say that to more people in law enforcement. Okay, and then one of the things I want you to know is there was a man that used to work here who came with Charles Taylor, who was the spokesperson for Charles Taylor, the late Thomas Wowoyu. I'm his younger brother. You see, so when it comes to Liberian politics, because my father used to always tell us these things. My old man used to work at the Rabat International Airport, and they built that place. You see, so politically, I'm not an amateur when it comes to Liberian politics, as it relates to from 1847 coming all the way to the time Samuel Doe became president when I left Liberia, and now. So I understand, in the military they call it rule of engagement.
Of course.
All right.
All right, so I want to take you to another area a little bit, and,
Right.
and like we usually do here, we will open the lines. I'm sure you have interaction with the public. Some who are listening will want to probably throw a question to you, or maybe some comments might come through the phone lines. But I want to take you to infrastructure.
Right.
You've been here. 2011, you were here.
Right.
You left, came back. Infrastructure wise, what's your observation? What have you seen? Is there any change?
A lot, because there is a fast change. A lot have changed
Okay,
because
for the better, right?
yeah, some for the better, some for the worse.
Okay,
Because if you have people building in alleyway and everything like that. In fact, I was just talking to somebody before I came from the States. If you look at New York City in the United States, what's the capital for the U.S.? And people may say, "Look, why you're trying to compare the United States with Liberia?" United States was the capital. I mean, New York City was the capital city for the U.S. But today, the capital city of the United States is what?
Washington.
Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. So Liberia need to sit down with people who are educationally inclined, architectural wise, to look at places like Nima County or look at places like maybe one of the Lofa County or some of the virgin area, and begin to move the city. You know, there is a group of people that the United States government hire, PUA, Public Utility Authority. When you look on some of the old manhole, you will see PUA.
Okay.
PUA was the one that put most of those manholes in place, like drainage and thing, you know, where the water flow, and the hand pump and thing we used to see in Central Monrovia were put in there by PUA. But today, all the pipes are rotten, and the replacement of those pipes are lacking in this country. I was in Monrovia when I came. I went to the USMLC to try to update my stay here, and I saw hemophysis coming from under the ground, where the pipe busted and hemophysis started coming out of the ground. You know, the pipe, you know, water running.
Yeah. It's common in Central Monrovia.
Of course. Because the government had not been able to pay attention to the well-being of the Liberian people. Those kind of things bring about sickness, diseases, and things to the people. You see, because those pipes were put in office from the day J.J. Rawa took the presidency of Liberia. So it go back to the point that I made concerning the legislature. We got public works and inferior ministry, but let me just break down government quickly so that so people can be able to understand something here. When you look at the inferior ministers that the president appoint, those ministers are advisors to the president office. They are advisors, the president advisor that the work of the ministers. The lawmakers are there to make laws. That's why represent the various districts. They figure that they can get thousands of dollars and go home with it and not have to do anything. I was in an area and somebody showed me something that one of the senators for Montserrat County bill in South Joseph. It's a conflict of interest. Go back to the Liberian Constitution. It's a conflict of interest for a certain senator in this land to open a foundation and say they're doing their own thing, more especially when you're receiving government salary, you work for the government. It's a conflict of interest.
So somebody in the legislature is supposed to get a school or anything of such?
You're supposed to get a school when you leave office or before you get into office. It's only fair.
Okay.
It's conflict of interest. Go back to your constitution. The Liberian Constitution was modeled after the United States Constitution. All men are created equal under the law. That's why we got 3 branches of government. The same thing in the United States. I'm not trying to compare America with Liberia.
Of course. Okay, so let me just remind our listeners that you are here in tune to the Bumper Show on ELBC Radio. We have Blor Cannibal. He is is a Liberian who based in the United States of America. He's here with us, you know, giving us his own perspective. According to him, he's been in the country for like about 3 weeks, and now, you know, listening to him to have his own thoughts about what he has noticed doing his, going around in the country. And that is why we are here talking on the program. Like we always do, you have the time. You can call us on 0777-835-862, 0777-835-862, 0880-616-580. Better still, you can put a call through on 0772-876-481. Sir, you have explained most of the political part that you think. You've talked about the economy, and I got interest when you said you are, an operator of this earth moving equipment.
Caterpillar.
And I'm sure before you came here or while you were here, you heard about the plan by the president or government
Right.
to bring into the country 280 some more of these earth moving equipment to do roads, to do how you call even farming, to help
Right.
in the area of agriculture. I just want to give you a little time, few minutes to tell us if we will get the best out of these machines. Where can we start from?
The thing there is there are a lot of places to start from. I would like to go quickly to the election, when the election was taking place. When the election was taking place, President Weah flew over certain places and went to his own county. And then there was a pregnant woman. They were taking to hospital. She was in labor. I watched that carefully. And while President Weah was flying over this dilapidated road, there was a lady that was in labor. And that child that woman carried was a Liberian. And that child could be the next president for the Republic of Liberia. Nobody knows that. But the woman was not able to be taken to a hospital. And people, because the ambulance that was carrying the woman got stuck in the mud in, I think, Sano or one of the counties where George Weah come from. And that should never happen in this country.
That is why the current president decided now, okay, let's face this once and for all. And he's bringing in all of these machines.
And that's why, let me tell you something. I'm not an anti-government. I'm not an anti-government. I like for government to do what they say they're going to do. And that's why I said to you, the Liberian people need to give Joe Boakai a chance to do something for this country. When I came here in 2011, I'll go back to that 2011, I was very, very dissatisfied with what I saw. And I had no beef with the government. Where we are at the time, he was president. Here, people elected him. He was fairly elected. And I can respect that. And people should respect his leadership in Liberia. But the key there is there are something that the Liberian people chasing, and the point you made about the yellow machine. I think since Joe Boakai has said that he's going to make sure, because I listened to him speak on one of those foreign shows where he talked about how he's going to make road and stuff like that.
Yeah, a priority.
Yes.
It's part of the arrest agenda.
Yes. So I'm happy that Joe Boakai can do that, because road network build country. Those are development in country. The United States, the remotest village, has a decent road. You see, in our country, go back, just reflect for a minute. From 1847 to now, it will actually focusing our attention on the amount of money that have been taken from this country by corrupt leaders. Liberia, we can walk on the streets of gold because the money is not being used for its intended purpose.
Okay.
And I want to touch on something quickly. Let's go back to the legislative body of this country.
Okay.
They don't care, to me, from what I see, they don't care about the citizen. They don't care.
Why you think they don't care?
Because they are self-centered. And if you have that kind of mindset, you ain't going nowhere. They look. Let's look at the citizen of the Republic of Liberia. I was in Liberia when a Pele man they call Berry died in this country. And I said to myself, I would say this today on this program. Berry was a guy that was working for T. Chaudhry and Son, the Lebanese people. And those Lebanese people, while they were in a warehouse packing the bags of candy and all that kind of thing, one bag of the candy busted. And Berry took one of that candy and ate it. The Lebanese people gang up on him and they choke him to death. Samuel Doe and other people allowed Berry to die in vain in this country. I was a young child because when I went to America, I was less than 18 years old. And it hurt me to the core of my being that a foreigner. You know, we live in America, right? The color of your skin. Those of us who are Africans and black people living in America, we are slaves. Make no mistake about that. Make no mistake. We are slaves in America. And then when we come to Liberia, we should be slaves in our own land. The key there is because of the leadership that we put in office in Africa, more especially places like Liberia. They think that Jesus Christ is going to come from heaven and just drop money and say, oh, since I'm Jesus Christ, they pay what you're taking from the Liberian government. That one is free for you. Care whom? It's for you for free. You're working for free. You know, take that money for free. And at the end of the day, when God says, oh, then you can use it for the Liberian people. That is completely wrong. And one of the things I want to say before I digress is the fact that Liberian people feel, most really the leadership of Liberia, they have not been able to put their citizens first. Seriously. They have not been able, if as a Liberian citizen, if you're in Europe, you're in America, you're here in your own country, Lebanese man and the Indian man have more rights than you.
You think so?
Yes, I believe so and I know so. You see, and I wanted to touch on that today so that Liberian people can begin to be nationalistic. The more ragged human being in America, a homeless man, love America. Seriously. They love America because they have what they call, they are nationalistic. These people believe in their country.
Okay. All right. Let me just remind our, listeners, if you want to be a part of the program, you can call us on 0777 835 862 0886 616 and you can ask your question to Mr. Bloor Kaniba. He is a Liberian living in the United States of America. He is here with us having a conversation on this first segment of the program. So if you want to interact, you have questions for him, you have comments to put through, you can call us on those numbers and let's hear from you. And I just wanted to stick with this issue of the yellow machine a little bit because we've been talking about it and saying all of these equipment are coming. I don't know the real type. Let me take this caller first, then we'll come back to you. Hello,
how are you?
Welcome.
Yeah, I'm David Dan calling from Tapeta.
All right, Mr. Dan, let's hear from you.
I really admire that gentleman. But all he said is clear and is factual. I commend him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a commendation coming in for you. Yes, probably somebody following. Yes, you saying what they think is the right thing that's happening here. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Welcome.
Yes, this is Konoko calling from Caldwell.
All right.
I got one question to ask the gentleman.
Go ahead.
Do you think men suicide workers should receive $110? Do you think the men live above $110?
Well, I think he didn't say that.
I'm not saying that he said that. I just want to, because I want to pay $110.
He just making the same thing that I made.
You can live on that money more.
No, because he's even saying $500.
I said $500 is the minimum that people should be making in this country as it relates to civil servant. People work hard in this country. The Liberian people work hard in this country. The people are suffering. Look, Liberia will never improve if the government is scared to spend money. Liberia will never improve. Let me take your case. Let me take a specific case. The United Nations gave some money. President Trump, I think he gave about $45 million, and the United Nations gave about 15. I mean, I don't know the number. I may be wrong. But that money was not given for the Liberian government during the COVID time. When the COVID happened, that money was given for the Liberian people. I was sitting here. I'm a beneficiary of the money that was given. I received $9,183 in the United States that were given to me directly because of the COVID. That 9,000, because I come from as the white man would consider me a poor background, I was forced to go spend that money. That money went back into the economy and it turned over. That's economics. But the rich people that received that money did not use it. That's the reason why they had a cutoff amount. They had a cutoff amount. So people who were in certain pay bracket, they were not supposed to get that money, and they didn't get it in America. But when Trump sent that money and the United Nations sent that money, not one Liberian citizen, I followed the money, not one Liberian citizen received anything. They didn't receive even a cup of rice to eat. And at that time, the economic system of the world were going through transition, serious trouble. But the police director, Honor Weah, were able to beat people who were staying outside hustling for a cup of rice to eat. Mr. Patrick Sude. Patrick Sude were beating people in Monrovia. I watched it clearly. He was beating people because you had to be in the house by a certain time, because when the curfew
it was lockdown.
Of course, it was a lockdown. While we were walking around, the only thing you needed to wear is mask. And the thing here is, those of us who come from poor background in this country, the only thing we do, we hustle all day. We go out there begging other people for a cup of rice. So let's say, for instance, you left your house and the guy tell you, say, my man, 2:30, wait for me, let me give you a cup of rice, 2:30, so you can go and go feed you and your family. And then the coffee catch me at your house. How do I go home? The key there is, it was injustice. It was wrong. That was one of the biggest injustice I watched in the Republic of Liberia when our COVID struck and our people were suffering.
Okay. All right, sir, we are out of time on the first segment now, but we'll just give you the opportunity to, say your parting comment, then we can call it a day.
Thank you so much. Dave, I want to thank you and your staff for allowing me to come from the States to come on this show to speak. I think the Liberian people need to give Joe Boakai the chance, because if Mr. Weah had about 6 years in this country and he were able to use his 6 years to do what he wanted to do, they should give Joe Boakai the same chance to be able to do the same thing. And I think the citizens of this country need to support a good governance. I'm not speaking for Joe Boakai. I'm not his spokesperson.
Of course.
I don't know him from nowhere. He don't know me from nowhere. And I don't even know the political parties in America. Here in Liberia, I don't know them. So if you want good leadership, you got to give people a chance to work. The reason why I was not willing to cut the legislative body of this country a slack is because most of the people have been represented in Senate for a long time. And again, before I leave you, Dave, it's a conflict of interest. Go to the Constitution. It's a conflict of interest for a representative or senator to be building universities and this and that and the rest of it. The question is where your loyalty lies. Are you loyal to your project, or you loyal to the Liberian people? That's the reason why actual development have not been able to come to Liberia, because the people come into office and they want to do their own thing, because the money come in and they get paid. Why would you pay representatives and senators the kind of lucrative amount? The House of Representatives and the Senate in the United States don't get paid like the way the United States, the way Liberia, the Liberian government, as it relates to the Senate and the House of Representatives get paid.
Okay.
And also, in closing, the yellow machine that Mr. Boakai is getting for the country, I think it's a plus. It's a plus, and he said he was going to look at roles and things. And I wholeheartedly believe in him. He believe him that he's going to do those things.
Okay.
So I want to thank you, Dave, and your staff for allowing me to come and say something here today.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bloor Cannibal. He is a Liberian residing in the United States. He's been sharing his thoughts with us on issues in the country. Now, let me just say to you, wish you well and safe trip back to the United States.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's take commercials. When we come back, then we do another round of talking